When he witnessed a thug attempting to harm a young boy, he immediately stepped forward and subdued the thug. He was about to take the boy away, but as he thought more about it, he became angrier and went back, teaching the thug a harsh lesson. In the end, this perverted man was not only beaten again, but his wallet was also stolen by Kikujiro. Kikujiro took Masao by taxi. Masao initially covered his face and sobbed. After Kikujiro promised to help him find his mother, his mood slightly eased. Soon after, the driver got out of the car to use the restroom. Kikujiro noticed the meter in the taxi ahead showing the amount and was immediately shocked. Then he had a sudden idea, sat in the driver's seat, started the car, and stepped on the gas pedal hard, driving away swiftly. Because Kikujiro was unfamiliar with vehicle operation and did not release the handbrake, the car shook frequently while driving. Before long, the engine emitted thick smoke, and it eventually broke down on the roadside. The next morning, the two of them had no choice but to abandon the car and walk forward. Masao is an ordinary 9-year-old boy from Asakusa, Tokyo. He lost his father at a young age. His mother went out to work and never returned. He has relied on his grandmother since childhood, which has made him a quiet and reserved person. Every summer vacation, Masao wants to invite his classmates to play, but finds that they have already planned to go to the seaside with their parents. Masao's grandmother has to go to work every day, and Masao, already lonely, feels even more sad, so he can only stay home alone with his summer homework. One day, a delivery person brought a package. When Masao looked for the signature stamp, he accidentally saw a photo of his grandmother, himself as a child, and another woman. He instinctively concluded that the woman was his mother. Looking at the sender's address on the package, Masao decided to find his mother during the summer vacation. He saved all his money, packed his school bag, and happily set out. Before leaving the neighborhood, Masao was intercepted in a quiet alley by some delinquents. His money was stolen, and his plan to find his mother was cut short. Fortunately, a neighbor couple passed by. The wife ordered the boys to return the money, but her husband Kikujiro quietly slipped some money into his pocket. The wife reclaimed the money to return to Masao. After understanding the situation, she decided to let Kikujiro accompany Masao to find his mother, and also provided 50,000 yen for travel expenses, but Kikujiro thought it was too little and was sternly reprimanded by his wife. After seeing them off, Kikujiro's wife went to Masao's grandmother's workplace, claiming that her husband liked Masao very much and planned to take him to the seaside for a few days. Masao's grandmother quickly took out a gift to thank her. After losing sight of his wife, Kikujiro took Masao straight to the local racetrack, hoping to make a big profit with the 50,000 yen as capital, but he lost all the money in less than an hour. Bad luck in gambling, he also vented his anger on other gamblers. At this moment, he suddenly remembered that Masao still had 2,000 yen on him. Therefore, Kikujiro coerced Masao into taking out all the money. To give Masao a sense of participation, Kikujiro casually asked him to say a set of numbers. Unexpectedly, this set of numbers won them a 17,000 yen jackpot. That evening, the two stayed at a luxury hotel. Having tasted success, Kikujiro regarded Masao as a lucky charm and specially prepared new clothes for him to make a big splash the next day. But things did not go as planned. The numbers Masao predicted were either in reverse order, and they lost most of their savings in a short time. When Kikujiro was furious and unable to vent his anger, Masao accidentally found a winning number on the ground. Kikujiro was immediately overjoyed, but soon learned that it was yesterday's number. That night, feeling down, Kikujiro went alone to a barbecue restaurant to drown his sorrows in alcohol, even punishing Masao, who had caused him to lose money, by making him stand outside hungry. But after a hearty meal, Kikujiro found that Masao was missing at the door. Upon inquiry, he learned that Masao had been taken to the park by a bald man. Kikujiro sensed something was wrong and hurried to find him. He happened to come across the perverted bald man trying to bully Masao. Angrily, Kikujiro beat up the bald man and took all the money on him to cover the previous losses. Perhaps feeling guilty about Masao, Kikujiro decided to seriously take Masao to find his mother. Soon after, The two arrived at a luxury hotel. Since they had no reservation, they could not check in. The often argumentative Kikujiro argued convincingly enough to leave the front desk speechless. Fearing he would cause trouble, the front desk reluctantly arranged a vacant room. After checking in, the two went to the hotel's luxurious swimming pool. Kikujiro took off his clothes, revealing a tattoo with a story, but he hesitated to get into the water. Curious, Masao asked if he couldn't swim, which sparked Kikujiro's competitive spirit. He put on a swimming ring and jumped in. After vigorous splashing, he floated with his feet up and stopped moving. Fortunately, a lifeguard arrived just in time to prevent him from inhaling too much water. Back in the room, Kikujiro practiced swimming out of frustration, but his limbs refused to obey or cooperate. As night fell, Masao took out his summer homework and, to comfort Kikujiro, deliberately said he couldn't do some questions. Kikujiro confidently approached, only to realize he himself couldn't do them either. He had to make an excuse that he was tired and asked Masao to massage his back, but unexpectedly, Masao started hitting his head. The next day, Kikujiro either took Masao to climb a decorative ship at the hotel or openly fished in the hotel's scenic pool, but both times they were stopped in time by hotel staff. When paying the bill, the high cost left Kikujiro stunned. With little money left for the subsequent trip, he had no choice but to ask the hotel front desk for transportation assistance. Having previously learned from Masao that Kikujiro was helping a stranger's child find her mother free of charge, the compassionate front desk clerk hesitated for a moment before finally agreeing. After obtaining the front desk's approval, Kikujiro turned around to tell Masao to get ready to leave, but accidentally slapped another child on the head. Fortunately, he escaped the scene in time and was not severely disciplined by the other party's parents. Not long after, the front desk took them to a place where they could catch a free ride on a carpool. Kikujiro, proud and unwilling to ask directly, saw Masao seeking help multiple times without success, then approached a driver but used foul language to inquire, only to be sternly reprimanded, feeling ashamed and speechless. Thinking it was not miserable enough, he used paint to draw exaggerated scars on Masao's face. Seeing the couple, Masao approached for help. The young woman was touched by his appearance and agreed to accompany him. But before getting in the car, Kikujiro suddenly left, and the driver he had argued with earlier chased after him. It turned out Kikujiro had smashed the driver's windshield, leading to a conflict, and in the end, Kikujiro, armed with a weapon he had previously picked up, gained the upper hand. During a rest stop, the girl performed an orange-throwing acrobatics for Masao, and Kikujiro, seeing this, practiced on his own. The boy did a silly mechanical dance that made Masao laugh out loud. It was the first time he felt this happy during the summer vacation. The girl gave him a blue backpack with wings, wishing him to be like an angel, carefree. Masao cheered and ran, while Kikujiro continued practicing diligently. Amid lush greenery full of vitality, the scene was peaceful and beautiful, highlighting the meaning of the journey. However, a large sign outside read, "No entry." Happy times are always short-lived. Due to different destinations, the couple took them to a bus stop. After the couple left, through continuous practice, Kikujiro truly learned the orange-throwing acrobatics. At that moment, a man also came to wait for a bus. While he was in the restroom, Kikujiro swapped his rice ball with an orange. After the man left, Kikujiro took out the rice ball and handed it to Masao, gently saying he couldn't let him go hungry. After saying that, Kikujiro handed the rice ball to Masao, telling him to eat it all. Then he pretended to go to the restroom but secretly ate nearby. While eating and watching Masao, he accidentally dropped the rice ball into a foul water ditch. Unwilling to give up, he reached in to retrieve it, but accidentally fell headfirst into the ditch. A night passed, and the two still did not catch a bus. It turned out to be an abandoned bus stop. To leave, they could only find a way to hitch a ride. Kikujiro used his old trick again, painting Masao's face black to try to stop a car. But the plan failed, so he tried another way, pretending to be blind to gain the driver's sympathy. However, his performance was clumsy, not only failing, but also causing drivers to either refuse to pick him up or accidentally run him over, with some drivers simply ignoring the commotion and driving away. After a whole day of effort, they made no progress and remained in place. Night quietly fell. Masao took out a photo of his mother. Kikujiro, learning that he had only seen his mother in the photo, fell silent. Late at night, Masao leaned against Kikujiro, who was sound asleep, while Kikujiro was deep in thought. He looked at the sleeping Masao and softly murmured, "It turns out, Masao is just like Kikujiro." The next day, they began walking along the highway. When they stopped to rest again, Kikujiro suddenly had an idea. He sharpened a rusty nail he found and placed it in the middle of the road, hoping that passing vehicles would get their tires punctured so they could step forward to help and thus get a free ride. The first car didn't run over the nail, so he asked Masao to move the nail about 20 centimeters forward. Soon, a car passed by, and after a loud bang, it lost control and crashed into a ditch. Seeing the trouble, Kikujiro immediately pulled Masao and ran away. Noticing the potential danger of the out-of-control vehicle, Kikujiro then decided to target the parked cars on the roadside. He just told Masao to find the nail when the car owner suddenly appeared, and the atmosphere instantly became awkward. Fortunately, the car owner was kind-hearted and didn't pursue the matter. Instead, he offered to give them a ride. He was a traveler. With the help of the traveler, they quickly arrived at their destination. While resting by the roadside, Kikujiro, feeling playful, joked, "If Masao's mother is interested in him, wouldn't he become Masao's father? And make Masao call him dad." After saying that, the two went to look for Masao's mother. Kikujiro found a house based on the address, but Masao hesitated, gazing from afar, unsure how to face his mother. Just as Kikujiro was about to step forward, Masao's mother appeared with her current husband and daughter. Turning out, she had started a new family. Masao silently thought, maybe it was never meant to exist. That's what my mother longed for, and quietly turned away, walking off alone. On the way, Masao couldn't hold back his tears of sadness. Kikujiro, softly comforting him nearby, perhaps recalling past memories, also quietly wiped away tears from his eyes. They arrived at a nearby coast. Seeing Masao still crying, Kikujiro gently said, "Masao's mother must have moved away. Let Masao wait here, and I will go find her new place." But as he finished speaking, he turned and went to a quiet corner, immersing himself in his sorrow. Memories of a childhood similar to Masao's flooded back. He sat quietly for a long time, his resolve to protect this child growing stronger. Not knowing what to do next, the sight of the angel bell on a motorcycle gave him an idea. Two stern-looking teenagers rode a motorcycle together. Kikujiro slowly approached, his tone seemingly friendly but with a hint of threat. "Hand over the angel bell, or I will dismantle this motorcycle." Because he looked more intimidating, the chubby teenager reluctantly agreed. Kikujiro successfully obtained the bell, but the two teenagers were unwilling to leave and lingered by the roadside for a long time. Kikujiro returned to the seaside with the bell, while Masao was still immersed in sadness. Kikujiro gently comforted him. Masao's mother left him a bell. When he feels sad, he can ring it, and an angel will come down. After Masao had been trying for a long time with no results, Kikujiro built an angel for him on the beach. As they were leaving, Masao seemed to feel his father's love. For the first time, had Kikujiro, and they exchanged silent glances. Then Kikujiro tightly held his hand and moved forward, while the angel wings on Masao's backpack kept fluttering. It turned out he was the angel, and only Kikujiro could move his tiny wings. That night, Kikujiro took Masao to the night market. Seeing Masao repeatedly fail to hit the toys, impatiently, he resorted to mischief, picking up stones and smashing the decorations fixed on the stalls by the vendors. The vendor argued, "You can't shoot them down with a gun," and Kikujiro accused him of fraudulent consumer practices, forcing the vendor to buy back the stuffed doll, eventually demanding 3,000 yen. Later, they went to the goldfish catching area. Seeing Masao fail repeatedly, an impatient Kikujiro used a bowl instead of a net to catch fish. These reckless actions attracted the attention of gang members maintaining order at the night market. Facing the numerous opponents, Kikujiro was unafraid, warning Masao, "Stay here and don't run around." Then he and the others moved to a different place. In an instant, he was beaten to the point of bleeding from his head. Losing his fighting spirit, he begged the others for mercy, claiming he was just trying to take care of the child, but they despised using children as an excuse, and ultimately, Kikujiro was knocked to the ground. After the night market closed, Kikujiro, covered in blood, returned and lied that he had fallen down the stairs. Masao silently walked away, ran to a closed pharmacy, and knocked on the door. When he returned, the streets were sparsely populated, and their roles subtly reversed. Masao acted like an adult, while Kikujiro needed to be cared for. They seemed like children who understood each other's hearts. Gently, Masao helped wipe Kikujiro's face. Kikujiro first thanked him, then apologized, saying he shouldn't have been so reckless. The next day, Kikujiro washed himself with water from a roadside creek. Since they had no money, they had to walk back. To avoid the scorching sun, they plucked leaves from trees and placed them on their heads for shade. When hungry, Kikujiro entered a roadside cornfield to find food and happened to meet travelers. Later, they sold the corn they picked on the roadside, asking for almost nothing. During this, Kikujiro explained the situation to the travelers. After learning about Masao's circumstances, they suggested taking him to camp by the river for a few days to relax and enjoy. Thus, the three of them set up a tent by the river. They saw Masao fishing, but suddenly, the sound of a motorcycle echoed nearby. It was a motorcyclist passing through. Since the motorcyclist was local, they knew there were no fish in this river. Hearing this, Kikujiro immediately had an idea. Since there are no fish, let the motorcyclist pretend to be a fish. Then Kikujiro took Masao to start pulling the rod, but having the chubby boy pretend to be a fish was a bit off. Kikujiro had no choice but to call the slender octopus boy to the stage. With the cooperation of a few, Masao finally showed a long-lost smile. During the lunch break, Kikujiro asked the chubby boy about a place, learned it was not far, and asked him to take him there. It turned out Kikujiro was going to his mother's nursing home. Perhaps Masao's search for his mother touched him, and at this moment he was especially eager to see his mother. His mother, suffering from Alzheimer's and having a solitary personality, only glanced at Kikujiro when she saw him, as if she hadn't seen him. Although their past stories are unknown, from Kikujiro's eyes, one can read reluctance and nostalgia. Leaving the nursing home, Kikujiro told the chubby boy to go back first, wanting to be alone and quiet, but the chubby boy did not leave, quietly staying to accompany him. When Kikujiro left, the traveler played magic tricks with Masao, having Masao put a stone under a cup and guess its position. At first, the traveler deliberately guessed wrong. When revealing the correct cup, the stone had been replaced with candy, making Masao laugh. Seeing Kikujiro return melancholy, the slender boy suggested everyone play a game with Masao. The chubby boy had just prepared a bow and arrow to set a target, but was accidentally shot by the slender boy performing for Masao. The chubby boy used 2 buckets of water as drums, and the traveler performed a lively Indian play. The slender boy only used a few leaves to cover himself, which almost made Masao burst out laughing. That night, the traveler told Masao legends of aliens. The other two asked the slender boy to pretend to be an alien in the bushes, and Kikujiro also taught him lines, promising to bring Masao over in 15 minutes. The slender boy repeatedly practiced his lines in the bushes, but until midnight, the others did not appear. When he returned to the camp, he found everyone already asleep. The next morning, Kikujiro saw everyone eating watermelon, knowing it was stolen by the motorcycle boy, and angrily scolded. Good for nothing. Stealing the farmer's hard-earned blood and sweat. After taking a bite of watermelon, he mocked, "Can't even steal a chilled one, truly foolish." After eating, everyone played a watermelon knocking game. Kikujiro gave advice from behind. Masao, blindfolded, struck but hit the chubby boy, causing him to cry out in pain. Then they played 1, 2, 3 tree, where the loser had to remove a piece of clothing. The slender boy quickly became half-naked due to consecutive defeats. In the game of Tarzan, the lighter-weight people had no problem, but when it was the chubby boy's turn, the knot suddenly broke, and he fell into a water pit. He struggled to climb out, soaked in dirty water and emitting a strange smell, and everyone immediately kept their distance. The joy brought by these grown men dispersed Masao's gloom. The happiness brought by adult companions gradually drove away Masao's inner darkness. At dusk, the worldly traveler told Masao legends of constellations, pointing to the night sky and saying, "If Masao wants to think of them, look up at the Big Dipper and they will be like close friends always by your side." Masao gazed at the starry sky. In the hazy night, the twinkling stars seemed to transform into the faces of Kikujiro and his companions. Although dressed differently, they always tried their best to make Masao laugh. These fleeting moments of companionship had become a permanent vigil. The next morning, they first bid farewell to the motorcycle boy. Subsequently, Masao and Kikujiro caught a ride again with a traveler, traveling along the seaside, crossing a bridge, and finally arriving at the city where they both lived. Before parting, the traveler and Kikujiro played hide-and-seek with Masao once more. In a joyful yet reluctant atmosphere, Masao waved vigorously, saying goodbye to the traveler. After everything ended, Kikujiro tightly hugged Masao, reminding him to take good care of his grandmother and promising to go find his mother with him again next summer. Just as Kikujiro was about to walk away, Masao suddenly called out to him. Having spent so many days together, he still didn't know Kikujiro's name. So, Kikujiro smiled and told him his name. Masao, satisfied, carried his backpack with angel wings and turned his head to run toward home. It turned out that the uncle who spent the summer with Masao was named Kikujiro. From then on, he would carry this beautiful memory and bravely move toward the future.